Welcome back to Moonshine Performance. Today we have a big block 396, and this is what came out of the Chevy. So we're putting this back together, and we're going to sell it for some drag racing money for slopping and for moonshine over here. So what we're doing right now is using this cam bearing tool, and you got to ever so slightly tap each cam bearing in here. And so we're going to take one of these cam bearings out of the box here, put it on the end like that, and then take it and tap it into the correct spot, so into the corresponding spot. Right here you can see that there's a little hole, and that hole is for oil to get through so it can go around on the inside of the bearing here. And back here we have markings. This is for a small block up here, and this is for a big block. A big block, all of your holes on your bearings are going to be at 6 o'clock according to the front of the block when it's upright. Back here we have the small block Chevy, and each bearing has a different oil spot, and the first one has 2 oil holes and all the rest have 1. So with the big block, like I said, we're going to go ahead and put these all at 6 o'clock into the thing, into the journal there, and we're going to go ahead and start pounding these in now. All right, here I have a box of bearings, and on the inside here is a chart. So what this says right here is CH-12-1, so that's numbered on the bearing, will go in position 1. So the main webbing 1 right here is 1. So we're going to take this one, we've already checked it. There it says CH-12-1. You probably can't see that, but it'll be right up there. It's kind of scored into the bearing. And we're going to take that. It doesn't matter which way you put it in there, but this hole, like I said earlier, has to be lined up with the correct location of whatever motor you're putting it into. So what we like to do is take a Sharpie and mark so we can see it pretty easy, and mark here and there. That way it lines up right so you can see it if you're looking at it like that. Also, on your actual cam bearing tool, I made a little mark. That way we can line them up and put it in like that, so these marks line up right like that. So when you go to put this in here, you know that it's straight. So on this big block, the correct cam bearing position for the oil hole is going to be at 6 o'clock. Our block is flipped upside down, so this is where the crank would sit. So 6 o'clock now is basically our 12 o'clock. So our hole is going to be installed completely perpendicular to the floor. So it's going to be installed straight up. This chart right here, like I said earlier, has 6 o'clock on there. So what I'm going to do now is take this tool and take this piece off the end and slide it on through here. And then I'm going to take the tool on the end and you get your bearing on. And like I said, you're going to want to line up that line, right, like that. That way you can see what you're doing. So after we got 1 in, we're going to go ahead and do the main web 2 here. And on the box over here, it says that CH 12.2 or 12-2 goes into 2 and 5. So this is 2 right here. This is 5 here. And we're going to go ahead and knock this bearing in. Like, get your back lined up, get your lines, everything lined up in here. So that's good. We're going to make sure we're in the 6 o'clock position like the last time. And you can always make sure your line's lined up. So even if it's off a little bit, if you know where you're at, it won't make a big difference. So I'm going to take this and move it a little bit, all right, like that. Okay, I like that. So get your back tool in here. Go ahead and give her a whack on the back. Okay, so that's getting in there. All right. All right, let's check that now. Looks like we're sticking out a little bit on my side. What's it look like over there? Should probably go a little more.
You have to have a little more.
Okay.
Just a frog hair.
Good there? How's that work? Okay, our next bearing is 3, so we're gonna go ahead and put it right in 3 here. So on the chart here it says 3 and 4 is CH-12-3. So we're gonna go through and find each bearing here. And so this is CH-12-3. So that's the right one. So -3 goes in 3 and 4. And right there at the top you can see -3. Won't focus, but right there, right to the left of the glare is where it's at. So this one's gonna go in into the main web 3. Okay, I got 3 in there and everything turned out good. Now I'm just gonna work on 4 and 5 and come back after that. Okay, we just got all of the cam bearings in, every one of them seated nicely, and they look good. They're in there. Next is the cam button here. So this is basically like a freeze plug for the cam. That'll sit right in here, and there's a little chamfer on the edge here, and it'll sit right past that. Where that black line is right above my thumbnail is where this will sit. So that's going to be shoved in and tapped in right past that. Since this is an older block and it's in the back of the block, we're going to use some epoxy here. So we just use this 2-part epoxy, JB Weld. You can get that anywhere. And we're going to put that around the outside of this cap here, of this button, and then put it in there. That way we don't take any chances of it blowing out and doing anything, because once it goes into a car, it'd be hard to get to. So we had this piece of tubing here welded to a plate, and we made this tool. I don't even know for what, but forever ago. And it's basically been useful for everything but its original purpose. And we just have it sitting over there by the press. And this is perfect. I went through and cleaned it up. This is perfect for tapping this in here. So we're going to go ahead and tap that in now. And as we tap it in, we're going to make sure that everything's straight. And just get it in there. Like I said, you want it right past that chamfer there is the best location for it. So that seemed going pretty nice.
Looks good.
Sweet. All right, after that, you're pretty much done with your cam bearings and cam button. So after you get this button in, the next thing you're going to do is these 2 rear freeze plugs, because once you get it on the stand, those are going to be hard to reach, and also this oil galley plug. So before I put that in, we're going to use some RTV and just get a little dab of it right there and throw it in. Make sure you get it in straight and good. Don't cross any threads, obviously. So you'll just make sure that that goes in there, and then I'm going to get that tight now. Okay, the next thing to do here is mix up some more, get some RTV on here, or epoxy, and get you a little dab there. And you're going to take your freeze plug right here and run it around here, and make sure you get pretty good coverage around the whole thing. That should be pretty good there. And then after that, you're gonna throw it in here. Make sure you're square. So I just kind of eyeball it. Doesn't matter how these go in, just get them in square. And we have an old piece of chromoly tubing left over from the moonshine build, and so this is pretty good diameter, fit right perfectly in there. You're gonna make sure the tube is square and start pounding. Check and make sure that you're going in. The bottom needs to go. All right, we're good. After you get that freeze plug in, you can go around and whatever extra epoxy you have, you can just make sure that you get a pretty good sealant right in there. Or before you put your freeze plugs in, to go through with some acetone and wipe down that surface there, just that way you don't get any crud in there, and make sure it's all clean. So we got that piece of tubing stuck in there. It was a little bit too big. When these plugs go in, they expand a little bit, so it really caught this. So we took it to the grinder and took it down a little bit. So we're gonna go in with the next plug. We got the bag of plugs over here, and we're gonna go in like this and get some epoxy on it and throw that one in there. So once we get the epoxy on there, you just, like I said, you just want to make sure you got even coverage all the way around. And take that piece of tubing and hammer it on in. Same thing as the other side, and same thing all around, because there's on the side of the block there, and then there is more on this side of the block, and then that's it. Okay, after you're done getting your cam bearings knocked in and getting all these rear plugs put in and galley plugs in, you can go ahead and throw it on the pecker and get it on the stand. So that's it for this video, and today we showed you how to install cam bearings on a 396 big block Chevy. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.